Hello everybody, welcome back once again to the Woodworking Wisdom Workshops here at Axminster Tools. Today I'm going to be talking about woodworking drill bits. Not the most exciting of subjects you may feel, but there's such a variety, and some are far better than others for particular jobs. And there's some serious do's and don'ts as well when using drill bits. Now, if you're a fan of the Woodworking Wisdom videos that we've been putting out, you would have seen us use drill bits for a variety of different projects. And we try and use the right drill bit for the right job. If you need a clean hole, got to be a right drill bit for that. You need a straight hole, right drill bit for that. If it's just general bits and bobs, yeah, there's drill bits for that. And that's where we're going to start. That's the drill bit that we're looking at first. So let's come closer in and have a look at this. Now, I'm more than sure that most of you have got a set like this in your workshop. Relatively inexpensive, high-speed steel drill bits, they're known as. Jobber drills as well, they're also known as. They come in a standard length, although you can get them long reach as well. Now, I have no doubt that your set probably looks a little bit like mine, with the smaller ones missing or broken. It's quite a common thing. But what this kind of set does give you is a huge range of sizes. So kind of from 1mm up to this set particularly, I think has gone up to 12 or 13 millimeters in 0.5 increments. So hugely versatile set. But technically, not for woodworking. These really are metal or plastic drill bits. Generally, you find on a plastic drill bit, they are on the more shiny side. Instead of this kind of black-looking one, they're kind of shiny side. They're a better finish on the inside of the flute, the channel that takes the waste away. And that's to stop the plastic and possibly aluminium from sticking in there, preventing waste clearance. Now, these things I do use an awful lot. Small pilot holes. I drill them into plasterboard, into MDF, into plywood. They're a good tough drill bit because they're high-speed steel. They've got a high grade of cobalt in them, making them harder, really suitable for metalwork. Woodwork, they're okay. They're average. They're not the best. They're not the cleanest drilling hole, and they do tend to skip around on the surface of the work a little bit. Let's have a little close look at the end of one of these drill bits, the business end. So if we can get Mr. Colwyn Way on cameras today, he's helping me out. So if we can get as close as we physically can. There we go. That will do, sir. I will work with that. Now, you've got a flat spot on these drill bits, just in there. The bigger the drill bit, the bigger the flat spot. There's no real center point to help you, where am I at that? To help you have your drill hole there. This potentially will skip around a little bit and bounce in the cut, not giving you a perfectly round hole, believe it or not. You need to put a pilot hole in, certainly if you're running on a drill bit of this size. You've got fairly sizable flutes or channels to take away the waste, not massive, and a fairly strong cutting angle. As said, they're okay for woodworking, but really not the right one for the job. So let's look, to start with, at proper woodworking drill bits. Now, we'll go over to the good old trusty spade bit. Flat bit as well, as it's known as. Now these bits, they're called flat bits for that reason. It's flat. Been around for hundreds of years. A really common style of bit. Relatively inexpensive. It's probably the cheapest set of bits you can buy out there is a flat bit. Cheap to produce, cheap to replace, easy to sharpen, but rough cutting. You have a long center point, which is great. So that will help you find that pencil mark that you've made, and you need that drill bit to go there. 2 cutting wings and a variety of sizes. You can see this one's 18 mil. You can go from kind of 6 mil, and I've seen these things up to kind of 2 inches, which, to be honest, they take a bit of hanging on to, some at that size. They are dead easy to sharpen. So what I'm going to do first, I think I'm going to drill a hole with this one and just see the results. We're going to put a hole right in there. Let's do that. So I've got my trusty Bosch cordless drill, 18 volt. Now you can use flat bits in a pillar drill. I'm going to do all of my work today with this cordless drill. You can see there we get a fair bit of vibration. It's cutting fast. It is quick. It's got a wobble on. Will that be 18 millimeters, that hole? Well, it's going to be 18 mil-ish. Maybe you're looking to put some pipes through a rafter or something. You just need it fast. You're not worried about this outer perimeter here. It is a bit rough. If we can get slightly closer in, you can see some of that break out there. It's not pretty, but it's damn quick and damn cheap. Now that's a good drill bit for that. Would I want to kind of make a chair and drill in some of the back sticks with one of these? Most definitely not. It's just not good enough for that. I'd be worried about the control jumping around a little bit. Although this center point kind of keeps me where I want it to be. It's just a bit rough for the job, to be fair. But everybody's got a few because they're really quick and easy to use and cheap. There are some variations. I've seen this develop over the years to something that is a little bit more useful. We've got in Bosch, again, kind of leading the way in the development of flat bits, if you like. Now, this is a really super flash flat bit. What we've got is a screw thread on the end. I don't know if you can see that. Let me just orientate that against my hand. You can see that screw thread. All right? Screw thread. Now, what's the screw thread going to do for you? Because cordless tools, battery-operated tools are used so much these days, what it does, it takes away some of the effort and energy because that screw pulls itself into the material and doesn't need as much battery energy or as much force from you, the operator, to make this and drive this into the material. It kind of pulls its way into the material, which is good. Doesn't give you the greatest of control, but generally these are through holes, smashing in cables and pipes. Simple as that. We're a little bit flash on this one. Look at these little corner points there. You can just see them. Now they're little spurs. So they're going to help clean up this outer edge. So let's give a little hole with that one. See how we're doing with that in comparison. Well, I can instantly feel I've put no force on that drill bit and it's already pulled its way in. If I want to get it out, I can't get it out. It really just wants to take control almost. Let's just get the drill on the drill setting, Craig. That always helps. Wow, that is... I'm not pushing down on that at all. The word ferocious springs to mind. It really just wants to take over. And I'm pretty sure if I try and pull that out, that ain't going to come. That just won't. So you've got to back up. You've got to reverse these to take them out. All right? What have we got? Let's have a look. Well, to be fair, it's done the clarity of hole is no different. But wow, did it take some of the effort out of it. What a bit. I like flat bits, but I don't like flat bits for any job that requires any sort of finesse. So, that's flat bits. Cheap, quick, rough. Simple as that. Let's put those to one side. We're going to look at another drill bit now. That is age-old. Been around for a long time. Let me bring these up. Look at those. We've even got a contrast of colours. Look, a nice green one, nice red one, and a black one. The good old Auger bit. Again, been around for a long time. Since the days of hand braces, this style of bit has been around for that sort of period of time. There has been developments in this bit over the years, but it's really for handheld use. I can't stipulate enough. Don't use anything with a screw thread on a pillar drill. it'll ruin your workpiece, because it'll want to lift your workpiece off the table of your pillar drill. Even if it's clamped down, it'll still, you're struggling against that screw thread. These are for hand use only, either in a hand brace, if you're old school. Cordless drills are great, again, because you've got that screw thread. It pulls it into the material for you. It takes a lot of the effort out of it. Even with a monster like this one, it's surprisingly easy to do. This is probably about as big as they get on an auger. This one's, I'm guesstimating here, it's probably 32 mil. It'll probably say it on the shank. 32 mil, so 1.25 inches. All right, so it's a good size. Let's look at the geometry of these. Let's look at the actual business end. What do we got? Right, let's nudge those out of the way a little bit. Wow, we can see that really well. The screw thread pulling in, taking some of the effort and energy away from you and your drill, be it a cordless drill or a mains drill. And I must stipulate, if you're handling some at this size, make sure you're kind of using a more modern drill by hand that has a safety clutch on it. Because if one of these snatches, it can be wrist breaking time. I haven't heard of that for a long, long time, because most modern drills, I've got to say, have safety clutches now. So if this does get caught and snagged, which is a distinct possibility, then yeah, it can be quite nasty. But look, what we've got. Well, we've got that screw thread. Look, we've just talked about that. You've got the cutter. You can see it's one cutter, so it makes it quite aggressive. It makes it fast. You can just see the glint of the sharp edge in there. Quite a sharp angle. If we can go super close, there he is. He's on it. Really sharp angle here. This is like a knife edge. When these two areas, these two facets come together, it's incredibly sharp. Not too durable, you know. Same thinking about every cutting tool. A super sharp edge ground at a real sharp angle is not the toughest, most durable of cutting edges. These things on ply and MDF I'd stay away from them, something like this. If you're doing a job with MDF and you think you're using an auger, you really got to rethink your job. Big, long cutter, huge, wide channel to take away the waste. There's a lot of waste generated, not just with a drill bit of this size, but with other auger bits. You know, even this little fella here, now this is about 13, 14 mil. Same design. Screw thread. Sharp cutter, sharp angle, big. And there's only one cut, big wide channel to take away the waste. Now, to try and help the clarity of cut, there's a little spur on the corner. There we go. We can see that as I spin that round, that's cutting. All right, you see the cut come in, the screw go in, and then you get that wing come round. This kind of dome shaped here. That's a side scriber. So it's going to try and make the clarity of cut as clean as possible. Now, I've got to say, if you're using one of these, clarity of cut maybe isn't your real priority. You just want deep holes, fast. Clarity of cut we'll get to. I've got my absolute beauts and favourites for clarity of cut. There's variations, modern day variations. Here we go. The beaver bit. I like these. Again, fast, super fast cutting. It's kind of one of the regular old school augers, but look, it's got 4 wings on it. Now, I call them wings or cutters or flutes. It's all kind of flute technically is this bit, the channel that takes away the waste. The wings or cutters are the bit that actually makes the hole and does the work. Screw thread, super sharp cutters, and each cutter has its own little scriber, little spur on it. You can see there, that little pointy bit just there. Clean cutting, fast cutting. This is a good all-rounder. You've got a reduced shank here, so waste clearance is good. These can struggle to clear the waste a little bit, even though you've got this wide channel, because it's all the way through. These, the kind of waste clearance and cut finishes, and then you get a reduced shank to help that waste flow kind of freely through the hole you've drilled. All right. Again, for cordless tools a lot, you can see the hex shank on this one. All right, and that's perfectly good to be gripped in a regular chuck on a cordless drill. I'm going to drill a couple of holes for you now. I'm going to do the big one, of course. Why wouldn't I? I've got a big drill bit. Why not use this big drill bit? Because they're fun to use. Bigger the drill bit, slower the speed. So drop that speed down on the drill. Let's get that locked in nice and safely. And here we are. And we're going to drill a hole there. All right. So I'm making sure that I'm slow. I'm dropping this down a speed, and I'm going to use the variable on the trigger. Already that's pulling in. Now you'd think I'd have to put a lot of force on that to get that cut to start. I won't. Let's see that side scriper doing its thing. All right, I'm just going to back that up and take that out. Oh, let's take that drill bit out. Right, if we can go maybe overhead, does that one work, Colin? My in shot. Right, let me just orientate that a little bit. Right, so you can see already on this one. Oh, stay there. That's good. Right, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? No, well, go back to the other one, mate. There we are. There we are. Thank you. So we can see already, before we really started, our screw thread has started. And that started pulling that in. I really had to get some control to hang on to that. That side scriber, this kind of bit here on the drill bit, that kind of outer side scribe, has tried to start to give me quite a clean edge. The cutter has just started to make contact. So let's continue. See what we end up with. So engage the hole. Keep it slow. Pretty extreme. Look at all that. In no time. Now I've got to back that up. Remember the screw thread? Because if I just try and flick my drill and lift it back out, it doesn't want to go. So you've got to back these things up. All right. Now we've got clarity of hole ain't that bad considering how big that thing is. It's pretty good because that outer side scribe has done a pretty good rough inside, and I have got quite a bit of fluff on the outside, but that's not too bad. And that bit is reasonably sharp. Sharpening these bits is pretty easy. All I tend to do is I'll get a little diamond file. You can use a regular kind of triangular mill file as well if you want. Quite a fine grade, 240 or 320, and I'm looking to pick up and follow the bevel on that inner surface. I really try and stay away from sharpening on this cut edge, because if you remove too much material from here, it affects this corner, which in turn affects how the thread pulls the cut into the work. So really just a tickle on that inside face. You can use the old marker pen method and black that out to ensure that you're following the same angle. But with, I don't know, 3 or 4 strokes, that's going to become much sharper. You can see a glint starting to form there. I tend not really to touch the scribe too much, this piece. If I have to, I can. Again, the same sort of thing, keeping that flat on there, and you can tickle that up. Little and often is all good with all sharpening, isn't it? So you can bring your drill bits back to life, even the big ones like this. So that's auger bits. Let's pop those to one side. So we've looked at bits that are fast cutting, quite aggressive. What about if we need something cleaner, something with a bit more control and a tidier cut? Good variety of sizes. So let's look at the brad point bit, or also known as lip and spur. There we are. So we've got the good old lip and spur bits. All right. Now these should be in every woodworker's workshop. You can buy them as a set, relatively inexpensive. You buy them as a set, or You can buy the sizes that suit the job you want to do. I kind of always got a 3, a 6, an 8, a 10 and a 12 on hand. And often when you buy a set, that's what you get in a set. They're the most useful sizes. And certainly the 6, 8, 10 and 12 will marry up with standard dowel sizes, be it plain or fluted dowels. I know Mr. Colwyn Way uses these a lot when he's constructing his nutcrackers and some of his carousels, because projects of that detail need good, clean, accurate holes. And that's what this style of drill bit gives you. Let's look at the geometry. Let's look at the business end of the drill bit. Getting as close in as we can there. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So we've got a center point. Let's move those just off shot a second. We've got a center point. Now that's going to help. If I want a drill bit hole there, that's going to ensure that that's there. Now it's not a screw thread, so it gives you the control. So if you're doing a blind hole, you can use a stop collar or a bit of tape that's on here, or you've got the depth set stopped on your pillar drill. You can, not a completely flat bottom hole, but you know, we've got bits that will do that. But this will give you control and clarity. Great in a pillar drill, great in a cordless drill. Big wide channel, taking away the waste that you see on a lot of woodworking drill bits. Point to help keep you centered. Nice parallel sides to help you keep straight in a hole and not deviate off too much. But super sharp cutters. The cutting wings here, these points are mega pointy. Again, won't last all that long in MDF, but for plywood, softwood, hardwoods, a cracking drill bit to own. Go out and buy yourself a set. You won't regret it. You'll have them for years. All right. Sharpening is easy peasy as well. What we're looking to do is just pick up that flat face. It's impossible to try and on this one, whereas on the auger I was tickling this inside face here. It's impossible on one of these because that fades away at a kind of a curve in effect, at an angle. I'm just tickling these on that top surface there. All right, just on there, just slightly. I'll try and stay away from the center point as well, but what I'm looking to do is just lightly touch both wings. Try and take the same amount off each one. So if you've done kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the one wing, when you rotate it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the other wing. That'll help keep balance to the cutter. These two wings will stay the same. Let's drill a hole. Right, so let's move that off. We're going to drill a hole kind of there. We're going to use the middle size one. Let's use this goldy looking one. Now, why is it gold? It's not gold. It's just a gold color. It's a tin coating. You see them a lot on drill bits. Some of the cheaper drill bits will have a coating on them because maybe the metal isn't quite as tough and as durable as it should be. So that tin coating will actually coat one side of the bevel edge and give you a more durable edge. On the cheaper ones, though, I must say that this does wear off quite quickly. This isn't a cheap one. This is one of the high quality bits that we sell here at Axminster. And it's just a super tough, durable bit anyway. So into your cordless drill. Now, generally these drill bits, they're not massive. They don't come in huge sizes. This would be probably the biggest one you'll see. This one is, if I can get my eyes, 20 mil. You might go up to 25. But once you get to that size of hole, there's a far better drill bit to use for this sort of job, which I'm going to get to very soon. So we can run these, because they're not huge diameter, we can run them fairly quickly. So let's pick the speed up. Unless I push, that's not going in. It's giving me the control. Unlike the auger bit that wanted to own the project and take control, it gives you the control. So if you're doing delicate, shallow holes, I only want to go in 5 mil. Again, you can use a stop collar. clarity is good. Around this outer perimeter, you can't quite see it on there, but it is. It's really quite clean. Not 100% flat bottom in that hole, but not bad at all. It's given me a pretty good hole. Now let me get the bigger one in. You might see a little bit more info on that hole. So let's drill a hole there. Again, good with variable speed drills. You can really start slow. And just that image there, you can see exactly how that drill bit's going to work. You got the center point. Unless I push down, that ain't going to go in. So I'm going to push down. There, you can instantly see those side scribers just cleaning up that outer perimeter. If I pick the speed up, drive it on in. Now, hopefully the camera will pick up. Maybe overhead might help us. Let's have a little look. There we are. Okay. I'm struggling to find that one again. Right, forget that. Very clean hole. Right. No. Yes, that's better. It's nice and clean. It's not perfect, but it's getting close to perfection. I think I'd be happy with that hole on a piece of furniture, the back of a chair, holding in the sticks. Most definitely. And I know for, as I said before, Colwyn in particular, Jace, for their very small, delicate, intricate turning projects, they use those drill bits a lot. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Now we've looked at a lot of different drill bits. Drill bits specifically for wood, aggressive drill bits, cleaner cutting drill bits. But what I'm going to show you now is my favourite drill bit. Quite fast cutting, believe it or not, but the clarity of hole is second to none. The good old Forstner bit. So let me bring my tray over. There we are. There's that. So there we go. We've got a set of Forstner bits there. And there is a variety here. Let's look at the big one to start with, because it gives you a good idea of what this cutter's all about. Now, this is the standard form on a Forstner bit. You've got quite a big head with a reduced shank. Now, what that does, it really does aid waste clearance. Waste clearance, you've got this big void here, which the waste will come up through, and you've still got to pull the cutter out every now and again to clear that waste. You've got the main, let's start here, we've got center point. Now that helps you if you want to drill a hole there, that hole's going to be there. It's not going to skate across and drift off. Two cutters, super sharp cutters. Now the bits that I've got here are kind of Austrian made, they're fish bits. There are a huge variety and qualities of Forstner bit. The fish bit, Austrian bits are, they're forged, these bits, not cast. Now, in metal terms, it just means it's a tighter grain, really, of steel, and makes for a much sharper edge when you get down to the business end. Really, this bit is a chisel. It's a rotating chisel. All right? That's one bevel on the chisel. You know, if you're looking at a chisel, you got that angle, haven't you, on the end of your chisel? That's kind of the relief angle, but the main cutting angle here for a bit of strength is just that kind of shiny bit you can see in there. Two chisels, rotating round, removing material, controlled by a center point. Now, I did talk about clarity of hole, and it's something I've mentioned an awful lot. I've been chatting away about this. I must have mentioned it 10 times already. This is the ultimate, because what you've got is this outer ring here that controls and cleans up. It's a knife edge. It is super, super sharp. You can see how sharp this is. This is a continuous rim, which is a good all-rounder, great for side grain work like this, and a very commonly used cutter. You can get a little bit of heat build up here with a continuous rim. Certainly, if you were to try and tackle end grain with a cutter like this, it would cut it, it would be hard work, and in no time this would be blued black and you get that lovely burning smell, or maybe not so lovely burning smell in your workshop. There are specific cutters to help you with end grain. And yes, we're going to do some cuts with this one in a minute or two. But let's talk to you, a lot of you wood turners out there. Drilling out, removing waste quickly, drilling, you got your drill bit in your tailstock, revolving workpiece. You want to remove stock, remove material to save some of the chisel work, really, for a lot of it. Making boxes, hollowing out the bodies of your smokers, for instance. Maybe that can be removed, or certainly elements of it can be removed with some of this. But end grain work, what's different? We've got a sawtooth. So it's still got that outer perimeter kind of ring effect. So the outer perimeter will be pretty clean, not as clean as one of these, but it copes with the end grain far better because it's got this kind of end grain severing sawtooth as it's rotating. The rest of the geometry is just the same, really. That angle, large head, center point. These are generally quite short, so if you're drilling deep holes, well, you can simply get an extension to put on it, elongating. So that's the kind of two main ones, if you like. You got your continuous rim, general purpose. You got your sawtooth, specifically for end grain work. I mean, you can go into side grain, definitely, but the outer perimeter may not be quite as clean as this. The clever people at Fish have actually come up with something which is a mashup, a hybrid, if you like, of the two. It's called a wave form. Let's try and get that on camera so you can see what we've got. It's still a knife edge round here, but there's little scallops cut into this rim. So it is a combination between the continuous and the sawtooth. Not as aggressive cutting on the sawtooth, but a good all-rounder. You can see there, you can probably just see those scallops glinting on the inside of the cut here. And you can certainly see this super sharp edge as I rotate that and the light picks it up. They are very sharp. And again, sharpening is dead easy. You know, this should be locked in a vise normally, not just held by hand. And we're just tickling this inside face, keeping the strokes equal. What it does, it gives you a really good, clean, flat bottom hole. So if you're popping in little inserts, or if your tea light holders, that sort of thing, it's terrific for that. You can buy sets of these. You know, I've got a set here. Let me just gather those. We're going to do some cuts with it in a minute, so don't worry too much. There we go. So that's a set of 5 in and around £40. Sizes 15, 20, 25, 30 and 35. 35, if you're into it, is the size you use for kitchen hinges in your kitchen cabinets. Standard 35 kitchen cabinet hinge. Just a word of caution though, sometimes if you're working on thin kitchen doors, keep an eye on the length of this center point, because sometimes this can pierce the outer skin of your lovely kitchen cabinet. Proper kitchen cabinet hinge cutters are available. These are solid carbide with a very short kind of center point, so that won't pierce the outer skin of your kitchen cabinet when you're dropping in the hinge holes. But if you're doing chunky hinge holes, of course, or chunky hinge doors, or chunky kitchen cabinet doors, should I say, this kind of bog standard Forstner bit is great. Good little set, that. You can see it's used a lot by myself in here. Here's a little thing. I don't know quite what it is, but that just shows the clarity and control you can get with a Forstner bit. Okay. Flat bottom hole. Very clean outer perimeter cut. In what is quite a soft, fluffy piece of cedar, actually. All flat bottom. Controlled depth. I mean, look how delicate some of these corners are without smashing it, ripping it to shreds and breaking through. You do end up with a little center point in your hole, but generally your flat bottom hole is covered with something that needs to go into that flat bottom hole. A subtle variation, something I tend not to use, but they are out there, is the adjustable bit, the expansive bit. Kind of based on the thinking of a Forstner bit. So you've got one fixed wing. All right, but what you can do is undo this bolt, slide this cutter out, bringing your one cut out slightly wider, giving you a larger hole. They're reasonably clean cutting. They take a bit of hanging on to, but it gives you a good variation in hole sizes. Tend not to use them too much. I do prefer to go with a specific drill bit for the specific hole. What we'll do now, we'll drill a nice hole with my nice Forstner bit. And you look at the clarity again, using that word, clarity of hole. Like all cutting tools, the bigger the bit, the slower the speed. So just adhere to that. And these are great for pillar drills or hand drill use. Normally, I would tend to use these in pillar drills more than hand drills because I'm usually wanting my hole to have more control, more. The shavings that come off these are great as well. It's quite fast cutting. Now straight away, before I even blow any of the waste away, you can see how clean that is. Excellent outer. Very, very clean inner. And this is a horrible piece of, chunky piece of glue lamb softwood, as you can see. But how clean is that hole? It just looks really, really nice. Flat bottom, clean outer perimeter. The Forstner bit, in my opinion, is the best bit in the workshop, without a doubt. Okay. So my go-to for woodworking generally are lip and spur bits, brad point, and then the Forstner bit for real detailed control and clarity. I hope you found that useful today. We've looked at all sorts of different drill bits. If you've got any questions, you know where we are, the usual place. Email us in at woodworkingwisdom@axminstertools.com. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and keep a really close eye on all that content. 3 regular videos a week, plus lots of other stuff. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure. Bye.